Right. Hi everyone. My apologies again. I'm still testing positive for COVID. I'm not too sure what's the right way to go about this. So I'm sort of just waiting to test negative. So today's workshops will be focusing more on the tech that we're using in the projects. So I'll just give a brief introduction to front ends first. So um, for those who have done 3403, the front end is sort of what the user interacts with. It's it's one of the most important aspects of web dev because essentially what the front end is like, let's say you have a data driven app. The front end is what allows the user to interact with the database. um, it's just like, you can think of it as just a platform or a dashboard for users to interact with the database. And a lot of front end is hated a lot by end developers. I mean, I dislike front end, especially because of CSS, and there are many memes about front end development. And yes, I think everyone can agree, or I hope most people agree, that CSS is a pain to deal with. There are some people that are really good at it. Like, if you've watched YouTube, like you've seen, I'm pretty sure there are these things called CSS battles where people race to get thing looking like the image that they're given. Um, yeah, and also looking at job trends in markets. Um, a large component, 54.9%, no, sorry, 37.1% are all front end developers. Most with backend, and what full stack developers are just people that work on both front end and back end. They know a bit, and they would probably have a bit of DevOps knowledge as well. Um, there are many drag and drops and help available for front end. Um, okay, the problem with very basic vanilla JavaScript and HTML is there is no cross browser support, and there is a lot of repetition in HTML, so there's no templating. Um, so what it says here, HTML is wet. I mean, DRY, do not repeat yourself. One example is this GitHub tag system where, like, as you can see, it's being repeated multiple times over one single page. Vanilla HTML, CSS, JavaScript is also really inefficient because of the way it reloads the pages. So, for example, if you look at YouTube, right, like, as you click on different videos, um, the only part that really needs to be re-rendered is this center part here, whereas, oh, it's too small. Sorry. Is that better? Hello, hello. Is this better? Is it still too small? Is that bigger? So if you notice, there's actually a lot of parts of the web page where they don't actually need to be reloaded. Um, and this is where front-end frameworks help with that. Um, Also it allows it to be more dynamic. It helps you deal with state management and re-rendering. So like how you handle states changes in the state of application. Um, and and it also uses like just Ajax to make backend calls and API calls. It's kind of slower and may have certain security risks. And it also makes coding very complicated. Like, I'm sure everyone who's done agile web development would know, like, when you have to select a specific ID or element in the web page, and you have to just keep track of all these IDs and classes and like all these selectors. This is where front-end frameworks help us deal with things like this. Also, before we mention front-end frameworks, cross-browser support can be fixed by Babel, which basically translates the newer stuff to fit the older stuff that's supported. As you know, we always want web pages to be backward compatible. We don't want it to like work on the newer browsers and just like break on if someone's using an older like Internet Explorer. And also we have Webpack, which bundles JavaScript modules in a single minified file. So what that means is, sort of, if you look at the files in development, they are very the right word. Like there's a lot of unnecessary things in the dev stuff. So I guess if you want to see what this looks like, you could try and build your application. There should be a command to build it to minify all the files down. So it takes because also like if it takes up less space, it loads quicker. So one example would be here, where this is the minified version versus this. Um, so yes, so if HTML is not wet, so if HTML is dry, and what if HTML is a programming language? There are heaps of memes about HTML not being a programming language. Well, it isn't a programming language; it's a markup language. So yeah, we have these memes here. Um, can I have a programming language? Yep. So yeah, so what if HTML has variables? Um, so state management and re-rendering, or what if you could do HTML like loops through HTML, or allow functions to be like HTML to have functions? It allows us to work more easily with the front end. Even just having simple conditions, like let's say if a user is logged in, show this on the top of the nav bar. Whereas if it is logged out, you have the option. Instead of showing that, you show like a sign up page. The front end frameworks allow us to do that. And yes, that's a quick intro on what front end frameworks are. So today we should be having a React and Vue workshop as well after this. I hope you guys can utilize front end frameworks. Thank you. Um, do we have any questions? Ash?